Ave Patricians, Anthony here. I'm excited to demo some new features I've been working on for my upcoming game, Nova Patria. If this is your first time seeing the game, and you're curious to learn more, please feel free to check out the 2 previous devlog entries. Cities are a major feature in this game. They determine the size of your population, the number of buildings you can construct, and your access to natural resources and terrain. A city's population determines how many houses we can build in a city. In this case, this fresh city has a population of 1. So, when I unpause the game, 1 house will be built in a valid tile in this city. For houses, a valid tile is a tile on even land with access to fresh water. One thing to be aware of is that cities and buildings will typically require certain resources and some time to construct. Construction isn't fully implemented yet, so for the time being, buildings are being built instantaneously. Now that there's a house in this city, there's a capacity to build 1 additional building. The number of additional buildings that can be constructed in a city by the player is determined by the number of houses in the city. This house requires fish, so let's build a fishing dock. Fish is a newly implemented resource, and the fishing dock is a newly implemented building. Fishing docks are unique in that one of the requirements is to be built on a coastal tile. For the time being, we are prevented from building 2 docks. If we want to build a second dock, we must first wait for the city's population to increase, and then for a new house to appear. For now, 1 dock should suffice. Now, our house is receiving its required resource. This segment in the city label was red before, indicating that the house in this city wasn't being fulfilled with its desired resource, fish. Now that it's receiving fish, the segment is green, and the population is allowed to progress, as indicated by this orange bar. Now that the city has a population of 2, we see 2 distinct segments for houses, and underneath 2 distinct segments representing additional building slots. We can now build that second dock. In addition to allowing for more houses, a city's population also expands its borders. Borders expand in a pattern that follows the Fibonacci sequence, and they cap at a city radius of 8. With a population of 4, we are now seeing Tier 2 houses. In addition to consuming more fish, these houses demand an additional resource, bread. Bread production requires a more complex supply chain that involves windmills. Windmills need to be built on hills, so in order to produce this resource, we need to create a new city that will have a hilltop within its borders. The highlighted region around this dock indicates how far resources will travel on their own. Any houses outside this range will need a transport network set up if they want access to this fish. However, if we build a second city within this range, fish will be transported on its own to the houses that need it. Since, at the moment, this city only has 3 out of its 4 houses fulfilled with the desired resources, the population progress bar is halted at 75%. This gray color indicates that the city's population progress is currently stalled. When the city is growing, this area is green, and when it's shrinking, it's red. Shrinking would occur if only 2 houses were fulfilled, in which case the progress would shrink to 50% and halt there. Bread requires wheat farms, windmills to turn the wheat into flour, and a bakery to turn the flour into bread. That covers the basics of cities. Keeping houses supplied and supporting city growth is one of the major challenges players face in Nova Patria. Thanks for checking out the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with development. To everyone who's followed the progress of this game thus far, I really appreciate your interest, and I'm curious to hear from you, so please feel free to reach out with any questions and comments. We have a Discord server up, many thanks to those participants. I've had a blast interacting with the community we're fostering over there, and it's proven extremely helpful, especially in terms of crafting the development of the alternate history and lore. So if that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to join us, link below in the description. Lastly, but not least, a huge shout out and thank you to GamerZakh, who recently featured Nova Patria in a video highlighting 30 upcoming PC city building games. Link to that video is below as well. That concludes this devlog entry. Upcoming features include aqueducts, construction, warehouses, and transport networks, so keep an eye out for those, and see you again soon.